Blake Lively's just going to deny, avoid, ignore. She's going to act like all the things that Justin pointed out that are very valid are just, abuser playbook tactics. Blake Lively has responded to Justin Baldoni's 179-page, $400 million lawsuit, and her response has only made me want to support Justin even louder. Him defending himself just proves he's the abuser. She doesn't address any of the actual valid things that Justin points out in his lawsuit and instead just goes on the attack.
Beautiful. Where's my wife? Where your wife? Where your wife at? We want to get her.
All along, you have secret plans to do something very, very different that's above your pay grade. That's called fraud. When you pretend you want to do the one thing and you'll do the thing they're hiring you for, right? This Justin Baldoni, most people had never even heard of him. And then she claimed that he unleashed a bad PR campaign against her. By the time they premiered the movie, they weren't even speaking to each other. She made him stay in the basement and decided to try to hurt him with petty, made up, out of context complaints when he pushed back even in the mildest way. So she's a serial fraudster. That's called fraud.
I take on more than I can chew. I say yes to things out of fear. I people please.
You'll remember the director accused Blake and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, of using their power to steal the movie from him.
I woke up at 4:30 this morning. My heart was racing. I'm noticing that, I'm having some anxiety.
Justin's attorney says the harassment allegations have left the star devastated financially and emotionally.
The times where people ignore the red flags and say, let's just keep pushing, those are the times where you fail. The majority of things that we're buying are created by men. You always learn more from your failures than you do your successes. I love creating, and I think that as women, you're not often given authorship.
Hold on to your chairs, everyone, because the latest Hollywood tempest is about to blow your mind. Fox News has put their crosshairs on Blake Lively. Yes, the same person some call an actress, and they're shredding her reputation to bits over a rumor that she bribed judges. Let that sink in for a moment. A beloved figure from the silver screen, allegedly wielding money and influence behind closed courtroom doors. Most of us never saw this coming, but according to the chatter, Blake Lively is at the heart of one of the most scandalous allegations in Tinseltown right now. And guess who's caught in the crossfire of her latest manipulative spree? None other than Justin Baldoni. Because apparently being nice on camera is just a facade for Lively, who's allegedly capable of flipping the legal system on its head when it benefits her personal agenda. Now, this rumor didn't just pop up out of nowhere. Whispers about Lively's questionable behavior have trailed her for years, but never in such a blatant manner. It's one thing to accuse a celebrity of being stuck up or overly pampered. It's a whole other level to say she's throwing her weight around to bend the law. Fox News claims they have proof, something so condemning that they were compelled to blast it across every media channel. But is there any truth to these allegations? Or is this just another instance of tabloids stretching a half-truth into a monstrous story for ratings? Questions swirl, fueling online debates. Social media lit up with comments ranging from outraged condemnation to scornful disbelief. And right in the middle of it all is Justin Baldoni, who, from all appearances, only tried to do his job and keep his nose clean, but got roped into Lively's alleged chaos. So buckle up, because if you thought Hollywood was messy before, you haven't seen anything yet. Not too long ago, a string of peculiar rumors started circulating about Lively's behind-the-scenes behavior. People whispered about how she seemed oddly confident, like someone who believed she could never be touched by scandal. She made demands on set that left even the most seasoned production crews rolling their eyes. A few staffers anonymously reported that she liked to name-drop influential connections whenever things didn't go her way. Then there were the hush-hush tales of her forging connections with certain power brokers, individuals rumored to have sway in both Hollywood and beyond. At first, folks chalked it up to just another celebrity networking strategy. After all, who in the industry doesn't want friends in high places? But as time went on, people started raising eyebrows at just how cozy she seemed with certain individuals who had questionable reputations themselves. Justin Baldoni, known for his wholesome presence and philanthropic spirit, found himself in the same orbit as Lively around the time these suspicious stories emerged. Their paths crossed on projects, and insiders claim Baldoni was always baffled by her near-obsessive need for control. Some say he tried to keep things professional, but Lively allegedly saw him as an easy mark, someone whose good-natured demeanor could be exploited. The tension between them simmered quietly, overshadowed by typical Hollywood chatter. Yet those who paid attention noticed how Lively's eyes lit up whenever she talked about her far-reaching influence. With each passing day, the rumors about her cunning maneuvers grew louder. Nobody expected them to spiral into bribery allegations. But sometimes where there's smoke, there's a raging inferno waiting to be uncovered. When Fox News stepped onto the scene, it was like throwing gasoline onto a flickering flame. In a segment that blasted across the airwaves, they laid out a story so explosive, viewers were left gasping. Fox News correspondents solemnly announced that multiple sources claimed Blake Lively orchestrated a series of bribes to sway certain legal decisions in her favor. The entire piece was peppered with dramatic declarations and sly insinuations. They spoke of suspicious bank transfers and cryptic emails, all supposedly linking back to Lively's private circle. On top of that, the network alleged that one of their insiders had direct knowledge of hush-hush conversations, where Lively bragged about having judges in her pocket. Whether any of that is fully legitimate remains to be seen, but the impact was immediate. Overnight, headlines everywhere showcased Lively's name next to scorching terms like bribery, scandal, and Hollywood corruption. What made this so juicy for the public was how Fox News framed it. They presented it as a classic case of a powerful celebrity leveraging her star status to gain influence in the judicial system. The segment even hinted that Lively targeted Justin Baldoni's side projects or philanthropic efforts to overshadow him and secure her own interests. It was a narrative that transformed Lively from glamorous star to villainous puppeteer. Critics questioned Fox News' motives. Some argued that the network might be amplifying a half-baked rumor for higher ratings. Still, the serious tone of the broadcast left a mark. People couldn't ignore the notion that Lively might truly have engaged in underhanded deals. After all, who's to say what goes on behind the spotlight of Hollywood? In the midst of this firestorm, Justin Baldoni became an unexpected focal point. He'd been quietly building a reputation as a compassionate advocate for social causes, frequently speaking about empathy, kindness, and respect. Then, out of nowhere, rumors emerged that Lively had, in some twisted manner, tried to undercut his philanthropic work. The logic was murky, but the suggestion was that if Baldoni's charitable image outshone hers, it could threaten her brand. And so, the narrative morphed into this bizarre scenario. Lively allegedly bribing judges in some unknown legal matter, all while making sure Baldoni never surpassed her in popularity or moral credibility. It sounds outlandish, but in a world as dramatic as Hollywood, people were more than willing to believe. Public forums filled with outraged fans, some bashing Lively's alleged arrogance, others defending her from what they saw as a media-driven smear campaign. Baldoni's fanbase rallied around him, flooding social media with messages of support. Hashtags like "Number Justice for Baldoni" started trending, accompanied by heartfelt posts praising his charitable endeavors. Even though no official statement came from Baldoni's side, the public took it upon themselves to label Lively as the ultimate antagonist in this twisted tale. The question remained, how did her alleged bribery scheme connect to Baldoni, specifically? Some speculated that it was never about him personally. He just happened to be a convenient stepping stone in a broader plan to dominate certain Hollywood circles. Others insisted that Lively harbored a particular grudge against him for overshadowing her with his authenticity. Either way, the outcry grew louder, and Lively's reputation sank deeper into the muck. As if the situation wasn't outrageous enough, rumors surfaced about leaked messages supposedly tied to Lively's clandestine activities. Fox News hinted they'd come into possession of texts or emails that exposed the actress instructing middlemen to smooth things over with local authorities or even connect with judges handling certain cases. Though these messages have never been publicly released in full, the grapevine buzzed about their contents. Some sources claimed they read like blatant smoking guns, short instructions with references to hush payments or discreet visits to judicial figures. Others believed they were far too cryptic to serve as conclusive proof. But if Fox News was telling the truth about their existence, it raised 1,000 questions about the extent of Lively's alleged manipulations. Then there were rumors of meltdown moments where Lively was recorded during phone calls, apparently screaming about how she wouldn't be upstaged by a second-rate star like Baldoni. The veracity of these rumors remains unconfirmed, but the mental image alone fueled the internet's collective imagination. Suddenly, the sweet public persona she'd cultivated for years looked more like a well-rehearsed act overshadowed by claims of ruthless ambition. Complicating matters further, there was talk of contradictory statements from Lively's inner circle. One day, her PR team would adamantly deny any involvement with shady deals. The next day, a source close to her management allegedly admitted that there might have been some questionable financial transactions, but pinned the blame on someone else. The confusion only fanned the flames of speculation, making it nearly impossible to figure out what was factual and what was sensational hearsay. News travels fast in Hollywood, and the entire industry seemed to jolt awake the moment Fox News dropped its bombshell. Gossip columns, entertainment blogs, and talk shows seized the chance to dissect every angle. Pundits debated whether Lively's career could withstand such a massive hit. Casting directors reportedly began second-guessing future projects that involved her. Some major endorsement deals were said to be under review, as corporate sponsors have no patience for even the faintest whiff of corruption. Industry insiders whispered about Lively's predicament in hushed tones, as though they were discussing some grand betrayal. The murmur in various studio backlots implied that certain producers felt betrayed by Lively's outwardly pristine persona. How could an actress who built a brand on glamour and likability be caught in a rumor involving bribing judges? If true, it signaled a depth of audacity beyond normal Hollywood vanity. At the same time, a portion of the industry quietly rallied behind Justin Baldoni. Directors and producers who had worked with him spoke highly of his integrity. A well-known colleague even quipped that Baldoni would never stoop to that kind of unscrupulous tactic, implying that if Lively wanted to sabotage him, she'd picked the absolute worst target, someone whose entire brand was the polar opposite of underhanded deals. Through it all, the Hollywood rumor mill ground on. People who once admired Lively found themselves questioning her every action. Others believed it was just a cunning tabloid setup. Either way, the entire scandal left a permanent mark, overshadowing everything else happening in show business at the time. With the story spiraling out of control, Blake Lively finally emerged from the haze. In a statement dripping with indignation, she called the accusations baseless, insulting, and downright ludicrous. Her legal team chimed in soon after, threatening legal repercussions against any outlet or individual that continued to spread these vicious lies. They labeled Fox News' report as reckless journalism designed to drum up ratings. There was an undercurrent of fury in her public response. Gone was the controlled, pleasant facade she often displayed in interviews. Instead, she seemed ready to fight tooth and nail against anyone who dared stand by these allegations. She brushed off the idea that she'd even bothered to pay off judges, painting herself as a scapegoat for an opportunistic network chasing a dramatic headline. But the denial raised some eyebrows. For one, it didn't address specific concerns about any alleged communications or suspicious financial activities. It also dismissed the notion that Justin Baldoni had been targeted in any capacity. Lively's camp portrayed him as irrelevant to her personal affairs, which only heightened public curiosity about the real nature of their relationship. Was she avoiding the topic because acknowledging it might add fuel to the rumor? Meanwhile, Fox News doubled down, insisting they had credible sources and even more damning material that would eventually see the light of day. Lively's threats didn't seem to scare them off. In fact, the confrontation only ramped up the suspense. People waited with bated breath to see if the network would release something new to support its claims, or if Lively would back up her defiance with an actual countersuit. Bribery isn't a laughable affair relegated to gossip blogs. If any part of Fox News' story held water, Lively could be looking at severe legal consequences. That meant potential indictments, deep-diving investigations, and possibly even prison time. Punishments that go far beyond losing brand endorsements. Legal experts weighed in on public forums, each with a slightly different take on the severity of the allegations. Some believed that while the rumor was sensational, it might be challenging to prove in court without a paper trail or credible witnesses. Others argued that even unproven accusations could unravel Lively's public persona, effectively blacklisting her from any major roles. In the midst of this speculation, people started connecting the dots backward, analyzing Lively's career trajectory and personal life for signs of foul play. Every charity event she hosted, every lavish party she attended, even the legal complexities in past business deals, nothing was safe from scrutiny. Fans who once worshipped her found themselves second-guessing every philanthropic gesture. Was it genuine or another cunning tactic to divert attention from her alleged manipulations? Meanwhile, speculation swirled around Justin Baldoni's next move. Would he speak out against Lively? Would he remain neutral to avoid fueling the drama? So far, he's maintained a dignified silence. But in the eyes of many, that silence only made Lively look guiltier, as if even Baldoni couldn't find words to defend her. After all, if these accusations were truly baseless, wouldn't he come forward and say so? For Justin Baldoni, the entire circus felt like a colossal headache. A man who built his image on positivity now found himself tethered to a scandal that had nothing to do with his own actions, yet his name kept popping up everywhere, on social media, talk shows, and tabloid sites. He became the unwitting yardstick for measuring Lively's alleged wrongdoing. Tabloids churned out stories suggesting Lively's main motive was to keep Baldoni from surpassing her star power. They painted a narrative where she saw him as a rising force of goodwill in Hollywood, someone who might overshadow her own public brand. In that light, the alleged bribery took on another dimension. It wasn't just about a random legal advantage. It was about controlling the narrative, controlling outcomes, controlling who got to sit at the top of the Hollywood food chain. One can't help but wonder, is this the beginning of a brutal end for Blake Lively's reign, or will she miraculously claw her way out of this quagmire? Either way, the entire world is watching, transfixed by the notion that beneath the glitz and glamour, even an A-list icon might be nothing more than a cunning manipulator. So keep your eyes peeled for the next twist, because by the looks of it, this saga is far from over, and who knows what other shocking secrets might be lurking beneath that flawless Hollywood veneer.